My last question centers around your experience as a security expert. The coup of 1980, we have had many witnesses come here and gave their own version of what they thought happened and what they wanted to share with the commission, including security experts, some of those who worked directly with the late President Tolbert. Of interesting conversation were some of those security experts who came and shared light with us on about the coup, especially on the night of the coup. And one of the picture that's stuck in my head is one of when one of the witnesses testified. I think it was Mr. Wilfred Clark, who was, I think, police director during the coup. No, he wasn't. I guess police director during the coup or so. But he was seriously involved in national security. So I think portion of his version of that story was that the security apparatus at the time seems to have not been cohesive, or maybe not in sync with each other, because as the president was upstairs in his suite being assassinated, you had key security officers who were not on duty that night. Some of them were on duty. One person was downstairs on his radio speaking to who we don't know, or another person was not around. So, you know, it leaves a bleak picture in your mind as to what really happened, where the security personnel around the president not up to the task. They did not have information that this coup was going to take place. Were they part of the coup plotters? Were they part of the coup? What really happened that night? And I would appreciate if maybe briefly you have the time to just share your own, you know, your own thoughts on that subject with us, please.
Well,
what happened to the president's security that night?
This is, all my colleagues know this is one topic I've always avoided. I avoided it most of the time because at least my friends know, and I know, they know what I know. The 1980 coup was an unfortunate incident. From where I sat at the time, I think, and I know it was well planned, it was laid out perfectly, and without calling any names.
The coup was a coup that was organized by insiders in the government, outsiders, or both groups coming together.
When I tell you this, I know what I'm saying or what I'm about to say because at the time, I served as Director of Foreign and Domestic Intelligence Directorate at the Ministry of National Security on Patrick Minicom. My job was to monitor movements of persons suspected to be dissidents. I was also monitoring reports coming from our external sources. And so I was sitting pretty as far as national security was concerned. And I sent in most of the information. I edited most of the information and knew what was happening. The coup was well orchestrated. It was well planned, both by insiders and by outsiders. And as far as the security nature of it was concerned, there was a general consensus based on the cooperative spirit that security would be laxed a particular date and time. And therefore, all of those individuals that were heading major security institutions and that were aware put some relaxation in the structure, in the operation. And so I listened to most of the guys in the coup. They are my friends. When they left from here, some of them went and met me, we laughed, and we talked things. In any case, the execution failed. At the time, we had about 5-6 military barracks, and all of the commanders at those barracks all agreed in the spirit of cooperation. The only barracks that did not agree was the Shuffling Barracks. The Shuffling Barracks commander and leadership did not agree. Did not agree to the extent that it just didn't want to take part, they didn't want to be part of that discussion. But all the other barracks, the leadership knew what was happening. Here in Monrovia, yes, top security people knew. You cannot be the Minister of National Security and do not know that such a thing is happening. Sometimes you reach a point in your job and even become inevitable. You reach a point, there is nothing you can do about a thing. I don't care how much you want to do, there is nothing you can do about a thing. It will come to pass. So if your point of no return is the next 48 hours, all you do is prepare yourself for your escape. Because you know in the next 48 hours it will happen. And so to answer your question, yes, we know about the coup. Some of us learned about it long before it took place. And when I reflect now, there was a time if a particular period, if I wrote in my diary, but that diary got destroyed during the war. If that period, for example, Patrick Minicon had called me and said, Juniors, you don't look happy. You look nervous. Perhaps the coup would have not taken place. Perhaps it would have not taken place. Between August 1985 to October 1985, if Patrick Minicon had called and asked me, so you look nervous, you don't look okay, the coup was not taking place, maybe. Because it was tense, it was a tense moment, and sometimes you get yourself in a place that you're not supposed to be. And sometimes you know so much it becomes overwhelming, you are afraid to even talk. So yes, the coup was well planned. There were people on the ground. Everybody worked in cells. Everybody worked in cells. You knew your cell leader, you knew your cell code. And that's how it was carried out.
For the sake of clarification, I'm talking about the 1980 coup.
1980 coup,
Yeah, when President...
1980 coup, I was at a mansion. I had been assigned in Cape Mount. That was planned by the military. They met at a place that I know well. I wasn't there, but my colleagues were there. In the last 1 hour movement, they left from our house in PHP and went to the mansion. And the guys thought that if they went there, they would succeed. So from PHP, they passed the back through the Budget Bureau Road and into the mansion yard. That much I know about it because I know where it was planned, I know where they met. I was in Cape Mount, but I have friends who took part. All of them are dead men now anyway.